Tatum is an exceptional player. He is to Boston what LeBron is to us, a shot maker, guy you can depend on. They played a good game collectively. And the Lakers, you know, they were a little sloppy from time to time, some turnovers in the third and the fourth quarters that kind of, you know, kept Boston in the game. But overall, they played the game they needed to play to win. Got away with some a little unlucky bounce of the ball there at the end. But we'll take the win on the road.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron much better in the fourth quarter tonight than a couple nights ago against Detroit. He was scoreless in that fourth, and that just doesn't happen. And tonight, much better. Unfortunate turnover towards the end for LeBron, but the two guys I want to highlight are two of the guys that Rob Pelinka during the offseason said, we want these two guys on our team. Schroeder, nice game tonight, 7 assists, the big three-point play the hard way in the final couple minutes. I thought Montrezl Harrell was all over this game.
8 for 10.
8 for 10. You know, he had a bunch of steals and blocks. He was the energy tonight. On a team that needed it, coming off a 2-game losing streak. Big offseason acquisitions, and they paid dividends in a big way tonight.
After another poor third quarter from the Lakers, Boston took a 7-point lead. The Lakers flipped that into a 7-point lead late in that fourth quarter. I want to show you down the stretch what happened with the Lakers clinging to a 1-point lead, big game, James. And they go to AD, and you're just going to see good Boston Celtics defense here. The strip by Kemba Walker. And look at this, Jaylen Brown and Caruso. Brown, a little more physical, gets it. Big game. You were saying if you're the Celtics, you have to get that ball to Tatum. Well, there's only 3 seconds left.
You know, Brown's a good player, but, you know, the guy who is a shot maker who had hit the big shot right before that was Tatum. And I think, you know, with that much time left, when Caruso didn't get the steal, I think I might have would have looked for Tatum coming down. But, hey, Boston's a good team. They don't really look for a particular player. That's not the way Stevens coaches them. They do a good job as a team. So that was a good look he had. Can't fault him for that. Just Lakers got the lucky bounce.
Yeah, pretty wild last possession. I mean, you know, someone get the ball and just grab it and shoot it. I mean, it was crazy down the stretch. Kemba was not having a good night. So that's definitely the guy you wanted shooting the ball if you were the Lakers. At one point, he was 1 for 9, I believe. I don't know what he finished on the night. He got a good little look. He kind of pulled back and got Schroeder away from him. It didn't happen. The big news for the Lakers, though, I thought in the third quarter, it was Boston, the kind of their unheralded guys who were doing the big things. Daniel Tice, Robert Williams. Those are the guys who are making the plays. And, of course, Jaylen and Tatum did their stuff, too. The Lakers didn't have a counter for that until that fourth quarter. Trez and Schroeder started doing their thing, kind of creating a little distance for the Lakers. You
mentioned Kemba Walker getting that last shot. It brought me back to the shot the other night from Philly in that same exact spot that, you know, beat the Lakers. But Kemba just 1 for 12 in this game. Night. So I want to show you some fourth quarter numbers, guys. Tobias Harris that's who hit the shot for the Philadelphia 76ers. 25-17. 7 turnovers.
That's the key.
By the Lakers. The Lakers actually had 2 turnovers in that fourth quarter, and they were both late. One by LeBron falling and losing the ball out of bounds, and then the one at AD late there in the quarter. So the Lakers did a really nice job until the very end, last minute of the game.
It got a little chaotic there. What a turnaround from, again, the Detroit game. They gave up a lot of points to a not very good offense in Detroit. The fourth quarter really kind of erased whatever happened 2 days ago. 7 turnovers. That's an amazing number to force against a very good offensive team, a very precise offensive team like the Boston Celtics. LeBron definitely better tonight down the stretch. We didn't see the first part of that. Trez actually got the steal, pushed it up court, and here's, of course, Schroeder's three-point play, the hard one.
For me, that was a big play, James. You needed a bucket, and it was nice to see someone not named LeBron and AD. And if you watch that whole sequence, and you'll see it on the highlights in a little bit, Schroeder called for that ball back. He went, attacked, didn't go, gave it back to LeBron, called for it back. He had the matchup with Tice that he liked, and he took him to the rack and got the and one. It was huge.
Yeah, I think Schroeder knows when he can get by someone, particularly if you give it to him in front of the defense where he can see the whole defensive, attack. He's really good at getting those angles. Someone cleared out, and he saw that right and got the and one. It was a nice play. We needed him.
Kind of nice to have a great fourth quarter again, James. Kind of got away from the Lakers the last couple of games, really.
They stayed in there.
Since the Bucks game, right?
They stayed in there on both ends of the floor. Good defense, made Boston hit some tough shots. And then offensively, they found the guys they were supposed to. AD, some good shots. LeBron with the 3 down the stretch. And then, of course, Schroeder getting what he does. And then, Montrez, as you mentioned, active, big buckets down the stretch.
We hope Marcus Smart is okay. We're hearing strained calf. There was rumors that it might be Achilles, but strained calf, that's good news for them. All right, let's get you to the highlights. Lakers, Boston. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. We talked a lot about them on the pregame show, guys. Phenomenal combination of young talent that Boston has made into the cornerstone of their franchise, and they're playoff tested as well. They've done a nice job getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum with 30 and 28 respectively. LeBron James and Anthony Davis combined for 48. Big game. AD had 25 after 3, so 2 in the fourth, but LeBron 7 points in that fourth quarter after not scoring in Detroit just a couple of nights ago.
Yeah, he made sure that wasn't going to happen again, and down the stretch, hit some big threes, 2 in a row, gave him a big lift, and, LeBron's going to do what he has to do to win. I thought he did a good job of finding AD, finding the right people, letting Schroeder do his thing when he had to. It's good leadership by LeBron down the stretch.
Yeah, for all the panickers out there, the Lakers had lost 2 in a row. People were saying, they could finish, with a rough record on this road trip. If they beat Atlanta on Monday, they will finish 5-2 on a trip that's going to include Milwaukee, Philly, and Boston, all on the road. It's a strong performance by AD tonight.
Yeah, I think, Brez, it just comes from just a little bit of that, the riding this little up and down roller coaster right now, looking good at sometimes, struggling at others. But they found a way to win on the road in Boston. That's always a great win in my eyes. Let's hear from Frank Vogel. He's speaking with Mike and the media on Zoom.
Hey, Frank, what was the key to start the fourth quarter there when it seemed like you turned things around?
I think we just had great defensive energy. We try to talk about playing Laker basketball. We're really flying around on the defensive end, getting stops without fouling and getting us out on the break. I think we had a couple possessions where we were able to attack before the defense was set because we put together some stops. So this game was won the whole fourth quarter with our defense, and it's a tough place to win, so it's a good win for us.
And Frank, what were you thinking with the 9-man rotation, and how did you think that played out as the game went on?
Yeah, these are not easy things. We just felt like we're trying to get a lot of guys in there. Play a 10-man rotation with 2 guys playing 37, 38 minutes. Can be difficult for guys to get rhythm. So we just wanted to look at what a shorter rotation would look like. A couple guys have to sacrifice. Wes and Keith didn't get in there. We asked them to be pros, and the guys that did play, get a little bit extra run to get a little bit better rhythm. So, I don't know how much of a difference it made, but we were able to get the W. So we're all happy about that.
Bill? Hey, Frank, you're looking a little less fuzzy now that you guys are back on the winning side of things. Back to the rotations. How much harder is that when you are dealing with veteran players like Wesley and Markieff, who were free agents this summer, obviously had options with where they would go and presumably had roles in mind? I mean, just how much harder does that make the calculus for you?
Yeah, it's the toughest part of the job, to be honest. You got guys that are really good players that deserve minutes that you don't have minutes for. It's difficult. They're tough conversations, but those 2 guys are consummate pros, and this is not something permanent. This is we lost 2 in a row. Let's get a win tonight, and go game to game from there. And we'll continue to evaluate what we got to do with our rotation to get W's.
Frank, I was just kind of wondering if you could take us in some of those final sequences, especially on offense. What were you looking for? How did the Celtics respond? And as a follow-up, that the AD was talking about the transition defense on when Kemba got the steal and was able to take it back. What happened there that prevented them from getting the easy basket?
One of the best defensive players of the year. I mean, we just run. We got a late game set that we've been running. They got us the lead in Philadelphia. And Boston guarded it a little bit better tonight, but we still were able to get AD the ball in a great spot with good space to go to work in the post. They made a strong defensive play and got a strip and had an opportunity to run out and win the game. But Alex just flies from the corner out of nowhere and gets ahead of the play gets a deflection, slows down Brown, and then Dennis race back into the play as well. That's what we've been talking about all trip, is just improving our transition defense, that type of urgency. And obviously with the game on the line, those two guys getting back and get in front of the ball, both with Brown and with Kemba on that last play by Dennis, really saved the game.
Yeah. Frank, you guys do so much film work. I'd assume that if you're ever looking for an example of how just hustle can make a difference in a game, that you pick that snippet of Alex. Can you just kind of talk a little bit more about the impact something as simple as just putting your head down and running as hard as you can make in a game like this? Yeah,
well, we talked, that's part of the play harder than your opponent identity is who's changing against harder. Who's changing in, running the floor offensively, who's sprinting back harder defensively, the sprint versus a jog mindset. Good job. I'll talk to you soon. They're all things that we preach every day, that we continue to coach and hold guys accountable for. And, quite frankly, we haven't done it well enough the first few games of this trip. But we had a pretty solid performance in that regard tonight.
Jared Dudley saying, big game, James. What are you breaking down 360?
A little sushi. No, we're going to talk about AD. AD is a problem, especially when there is a smaller player on him. Marcus Smart, 6'3", 220, AD 6'10", 253. Not a chance in hell that he's going to be able to stop him. Right here you see offensive rebound, long length, simple offensive rebound, put back. Here he is in the post. Now, you can't go around Marcus Smart because he's pretty strong and he's quick. But what he does, he knows he has the height advantage, just toys with him a little bit, and then goes right over the top for a little 10-foot jumper. Once again, sets the pick for LeBron. Right here, you're going to see a little airspace right here still in the paint. AD's going to attack, spin back, shoots a little floater. Once he gets into the paint and drop steps one way or the other, you're not going to block his shot. I haven't seen anybody block AD's shot from the front. Someone may get it coming from the weak side, but he does a good job of measuring, seeing who's guarding him, and then he attacks accordingly. Tonight, Marcus Smart, just too small, not tall enough to get any pressure on AD's shots.
Yeah, Marcus, a very good perimeter defender, but asking him to stop a guy like AD possession after possession, it's just not going to happen. I hope Marcus is okay with his apparent calf injury, but that's climbing uphill from the start for that guy. AD is just a matchup problem for the Celtics. They're going to play again later this season at the Staples Center. Who knows? Maybe they meet in the finals. It's a long ways away. But if they do, it's going to be tough for Boston with this configuration to stop Anthony Davis.
Yeah, they're missing one big, in my opinion. One tough big. I don't think Tristan Thompson is the guy. They're just missing one player, I think, to go along with Tatum.
Yep.
Big game, no flames in the wall, no spotlights like it's a Hollywood premiere. When you do your breakdown, you just do it.
Yeah, just me and the floor,
game,
baby.
James.
No
You and the
walls,
floor.
just the floor. That's all, man. I'm old school.
More to come on Access. LeBron James and AD.
Old school.
They combined for
Drinking Kool-Aid.
48 points, and the Lakers win in Boston. Lakers are 11-2 on the road this season. We'll hear from the Lakers duo ahead in the show. Three Lakers 9 of 31. Bench points 35-15 in favor of the Lakers. In the paint, it was 60-40 in favor of Boston. All right, let's hear from Celtics head coach Brad Stevens on Boston's defense against the Lakers.
We had some possessions where there were breakdowns, John, but we also doubled LeBron and AD a lot. And we doubled them a lot out at the three-point line just because the matchups they had were not advantageous. And so you're going to give up some of that. There were some offensive rebounds that you'd like to have back. There were some other plays in the first half that you'd like to have back. They've got some guys that can just raise up over you at 5 feet and make it. And so it forces you into doubling before they get to that point. And again, I thought our guys did a good job. You would have told me we held them to, 98, whatever it was, going into the game. I'd have taken it.
Brad Stevens brings up a good point. If you're going to hold the Lakers to 96, I think he takes that every single day of the week. Now, the Lakers hold them to 95, but he's right. You play this Laker team, And it's not a 7-game series. It's one night, James, so you got to put together a plan. We're going to double AD, double LeBron, try to get the ball out of their hands. Other guys got to beat us, and they did.
There's no question that Stevens had. He had the perfect game plan. It worked out well for him. They dominated the Lakers in the paint. That was unusual, and the Lakers did a good job from the line, kind of kept them in it. But, yeah, he coached a game that had them in position to win. So he did what he had to do. He had some mismatch problems. He had to double. You don't like to do that, but he had to do it. I think they did it fairly well to keep them close in the game.
Prez, I think that's why it was so important to get a guy like Dennis Schroeder. And I know he's had some ups and downs just like everyone, but he's had a pretty good year. And I know Laker fans love what they're seeing. Van Gundy mentioned this in the broadcast, something we say all the time. I love his speed for this Laker team. People are going to take the ball out of LeBron's hands. He cannot score 50 a game. It's just not going to happen, right? When they send big bodies at him, that was Schroeder that got the Tice matchup, went by him. You're going to need that as this team progresses.
Yeah, really good kind of hey, remember me game for Dennis Schroeder. And it's not like he was playing horribly, nothing like that. But we've been talking about a lot of people during this road trip. Not a lot of Schroeder talk until tonight. And he just kind of stood up. He's kind of in the back of the class. He's like, yeah, I'm still here, guys. Don't forget me. Yeah. You go back to what Pelinka did, a late first-round pick and Danny Green to get Schroeder on board. That's a great trade. That's a great move. And I like the Laker bench, too, before we get too far away from that. You know, the Lakers did not score a lot. Brad Stevens is right. But the bench scored about a third of the Lakers' points. They needed this from the reserves tonight. Keep in mind, Game 6, what is this, day 10 or 11 of this road trip? Lakers are kind of a tired team, and I understand why.
Day 10, right? 6 games, 7 games
they've been around.
In 12 nights, and this is the 6th.
They've been away from it.
I'm glad Brez brought up the bench. Big game. We didn't have time to talk about this, but it was interesting to watch Frank go with a 9-man rotation, something we haven't seen yet. But what he said, when you're playing two guys 37, 39 minutes, you're talking about LeBron James and AD, how does everybody get in rhythm when you're playing 11 guys? A night like tonight, I'm sorry, but it's Morris and it's Matthews. And he said, we ask them to be pros. It's the hardest part of the job, and it really is. But it gives a guy like THT 23 minutes, Kuzma 23 minutes, Harrell 30, and Caruso 20, and the bench rewarded Frank by playing great tonight.
Yeah, quality, I will say, uninterrupted minutes will yield you some good production. And I think that's what the coaches are figuring out. You know, a lot of times you try to get minutes for players here, players there, and it doesn't work out because guys need time to get a rhythm. And I think what you saw tonight, especially with Tucker, he was in there long enough to get a rhythm going, very effective, getting to the cup, making some big buckets. So hats off to the coaching staff. And also hats off to Wes Matthews and Morris for being professionals and understanding they needed this in order to get a win on the road.
Yeah, sticking with the bench, James, tonight, a typical Caruso line. He played 20 minutes, took 2 shots, scored 2 points.
Don't win without him.
And he was a team high plus 14 in the plus minus.
Isn't that amazing?
So it's the typical Caruso spot right there. Love what he does.
President always laughs because we look at the end of the night, we're like, God, everyone was minus in a loss, and Caruso will be plus 8.
Yeah,
if you go by plus minus, he would be leading the team every night.
Yeah, in the MVP conversation. Right. Big game. What was it called? The Worthy Spin back in the day? I think you got
Worthy Spin back in the day. We got to bring that back.
You got another 360?
The wall. We got to bring the spin back.
Do you have a bonus 360?
Yeah, we'll just call it Access 360.
Okay, you got a bonus 360?
Just kind of a little bonus on that last play of the game.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting play.
Big game. I can't believe Tatum was not in the picture.
Yeah. I mean, look, they go inside the AD now. They're digging right here. He should have passed that to Schroeder because they got a hand on it. Caruso's hustle. Look at that hustle. He almost got it. Unfortunately, he did not. Right here with 7 seconds left. Decisions have to be made. AD doing a good job of collapsing defensively. Schroeder doing a good job of getting to Kemba here, forcing him to go left. That's a good shot for Kemba Walker, but he was what, Geeter? 1 of 7 or something for the night. That putback was close, but I don't think it would have counted according to the shot clock. But that was pretty exciting. That play was right there for Boston to win it.
They got the steal.
They got the steal.
Yeah.
They got the shot, and they almost got a little putback.
And everything just went their way. I mean, Tatum hit 2 really tough shots.
Yeah,
great offensive plays with good defense on him. LeBron slipped, right? I mean, there's just things that were happening. It was just a weird final minute for the Lakers.
The question is, we didn't see Tatum in that.
You saw Tice get all the way. Tice started deeper than Tatum and got all the way there for that rebound. Tatum must have just thought it was a gone play and just kind of hanging at half court.
Well, I thought when they got the ball, possession of the ball, it was like maybe 6 seconds left, 6.5 seconds. That would have been enough time to kind of find him, but didn't happen.
Yeah, by the way, Geet, must be Lakers Celtics. James has done like 7 Access 360 breakdowns during the pregame and postgame show. This is a big day for you, James.
Also, when that ball gets loose and Jaylen Brown and Caruso are running for it, clock's ticking. At that point, if you're just trying to get a shot off because it's hard to okay, there's 5 seconds left. Where's at that point things were nuts.
Yeah, well, Jaylen had kind of a funny he kind of fluted a pass and they kind of grabbed it and found.
It was a wild sequence. Great first primetime game of the year right there.
Big time
about that.
ABC. All right, more to come on Access. AD made an impact after missing the last game. 27 points from the brow. Lakers are 4-2. He's involved, and he's got that motor going. He's what you need off that bench. He has nights like this, 8 of 10, and he got extra minutes tonight. I think that was big for him.
Yeah, and some big buckets. His energy just was contagious, and you could tell his teammates start looking for him, especially Tucker, 2 times in a row when you're going downhill. They know the Trez is going to be in the right spot. A couple of floaters he hit, some big rebounds. Just the energy that he puts. Extra possessions. When you get an extra possession, it just demoralizes the opponent. So his energy, the 15-footer, he hit 2 or 3 of those tonight. Boy, he's really improved. And if he continues to hit that 15-footer, it's going to be very hard to guard him.
I believe Brez took him for your take your shot.
I did. Finally got one right,
don't you?
Yeah, it's funny. 2 games ago against Philly.
Was that the one where he...
Foul trouble, scoreless for the first time in 3 years. Last game...
Got banged up in that game, too?
Yeah, last game against Detroit, 8 points, neither here nor there. And Detroit really took advantage of the Lakers on offense. Tonight, though, that's what he needs to do. He needs to be that driving force and really just push his way, will his way onto people. Like James said, a couple of nice mid-rangers, too.
I know we talk about this a lot, but you know what's crazy and just strange in a Boston Laker game in Boston, James? No crowd.
Yeah. Now,
it would have been unbelievable tonight. Tatum hitting those shots.
Of all the arenas and teams that the crowd really is, effective.
Beat LA chance.
LA and Boston, beat LA. Just being in the city, walking around town, they just give it to you. Those are the 2 cities that really, or the 2 teams that really miss the crowd.
How fun is it beating them there?
It's the best.
Like in '85, you're the only team I think to ever do it.
Only team that's ever won a championship.
On their floor.
Ugly parquet floor. It is wonderful to win there.
It was hot too, right? Wasn't it hot, muggy?
It was very hot in the summer and cold in the winter. They didn't have heat.
Worst locker room in the history of sports?
Ever. Ever.
They trumped the heat.
It wasn't even a locker room. It was more like a chicken coop.
Yeah, it was.
We had 14 players. The room held about 7 players, 2 showers. It was just nasty.
2 showers.
You look at the championship. You look at the championship of '85 when we ran in that locker room, and you can see it looks like a chicken coop, man.
Champagne tastes good though.
Champagne was nice and bubbly.
21-7 and 7 for LeBron. He's now speaking with Mike in the media.
Chicken coop.
Hey, LeBron, that final play or that final section of the game, Caruso sprints down the court, and just wondering. It seems like an effort play, but there has to be a certain amount of just mental acuity there and just kind of recognition. Can you take us through what you saw from that perspective and kind of how big that was?
Anytime you have a turnover, you just want to have a quick twitch, try to get back and try to recover the play. And that's exactly what we did, starting with AC getting back, and then all of us just kind of formed the wall. Dennis did a great job of standing in front of Kemba, even though Kemba got to his patented shot to step back. But Dennis still got a great look. Got a great contest on his shot, and Tice missed the layup, so we came away with a win.
Frank spoke about shortening the rotation to 9 for tonight, and that's been something he's been juggling with. You have 11 guys at least who you'd like to give more minutes for. Just your experience over the years and what it's like having the rotation like that and how that impacts guys night in, night out.
As professionals, we all just have to stay ready when our number is called. We're here for one reason only, and that's to try to win a championship, and that's what it is.
Calgon? Hey, AD talked a little bit about sort of just not wanting to lose 3 in a row and having a little extra energy from that. In what ways do you feel like maybe that extra energy or extra desire to break the losing streak came out tonight in your guys' performance as a team?
But we don't want to lose one in a row, and then we take pride in losing 2 in a row, and we did that, and in Philly and Detroit. So we knew we was coming into a hostile environment in a hostile building, understanding how good this team is, and we had to play some really good basketball in order to win, and we was able to win one possession more than they were tonight and come away with it.
Yeah.
Hey, LeBron. You guys obviously every time you step on the court, you guys have a lot of talent that you put on the floor. But over the past year and 20 games, I guess this season, playing harder than the other team, wanting it, I guess, more has been a thing that's really shown through. How have you guys been able to keep that sort of like, we're going to play harder than you more nights than not sort of mentality?
Because talent can only take you so far. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of talented teams in this league, but it's how far you can go as far as how hard you play, how much you challenge yourself on the defensive end to try to get stops, to want to get stops, and just have that mentality. So that's just who we've been over the last year or so.
Bill?
Hey, LeBron, that group you guys started the second and fourth with THT, Caruso, Trez, and Kuz and yourself isn't one we've seen a lot before. You had a lot of success with it tonight. What do you like about that group, and why was it effective against what they were doing?
It's a high energy group. We all play with a pace, a level of energy, and we just fight off one another. And it's a team that can. We have multiple ball handlers, multiple guys that can slash and shooting. So it works well for us, and Trez just demands the paint. So it works extremely well for us.
Kyle Hightower? Kyle, I think you're on mute.
Yeah. Hey, LeBron, if you forgive the offbeat question a little bit, but you're in Boston right now, and next week is the Super Bowl. You gave a shout out to Tom Brady last week. Just congratulate him for making it back to another Super Bowl. What's it do for you to see a guy like him playing at the level he is at his age and doing what he's doing at that high level, getting back to the pinnacle of his sport?
It doesn't do anything for me as far as what I do in my profession, but what it does, it lets me know and lets both of us know that we can still play this game at a high level, no matter how many miles, how many games, no matter how many doubters, no matter the statistics of, in our respective profession at our age, we can still dominate our sport. And also we can bring together groups that we may have not been around for a long period of time. It's just our professionalism, how we attack the sport, how we attack every single day of being a professional, of wanting to win every single day in a practice, on the film, on the practice field, and in the games, so on and so on. So, we gravitate towards people, and people gravitate towards us because we have one common goal, and that's to win and win at the highest level.
Last two questions, Joe Varden.
Hey, man. What'd you think seeing Tristan in a different uniform tonight?
And then, when you play Boston, that's all you see. You see green. You don't really see the person, when you play Boston. So it was no difference. But it's always good to see my brother. Love him to death. I'm extremely proud of him and the leader he's become. He's like now a vet for this team, and they're going to use his knowledge, throughout the course of this season, both on and off the floor. So I'm happy for him.
Last question, Melissa Rowland.
Hey, LeBron, I have kind of an offbeat question for you as well tonight. There's been a lot of talk, obviously, about how your game has grown from when you were 18 to 36. How would you say your leadership has grown and evolved from when you were 18 until now?
I think you continue to learn. At 18, I was the leader of my high school basketball team for 4 years, or let's say 3 years, along with a couple guys. But you come into the professional league, you sit there and watch, and you become a sponge, and you see, you lead by example. You go out and you practice hard, and you try to stick your head into the film and just try to get better every single day, and just try to keep quiet because there's bets, things of that nature, and you got your coaching staff who does a lot of the talking. So I was just more of a sponge, at 18, just watching, seeing. But I've always had that leadership trait. Whenever it will become available to me, and someone will come up to me and say, "We need you to lead." So as the years went on, and it just continues to build, it continues to grow. And I know who I am as a person, as a basketball player, and I have a lot of knowledge to give to my teammates and to franchises that I've been a part of in my career. So, leadership is not a one-day thing. It's not a one-trick pony. It's an everyday thing, both on and off the floor, and I take full responsibility there. Appreciate it.
Still to come on Access, Montrez, Mike and company.
Hey, Anthony, what stood out to you about the fourth quarter, especially defensively there?
What was the first part?
Just what stood out about the fourth quarter to you when you guys flipped the game around?
We had a couple of stops. We made some shots, but I think for the most part we got stops. Tatum got loose a little bit in the fourth, but all the shots were contested. We've been doing a good job of buckling down the full quarter. Stop the Detroit game, I think. Even in Philly, did a good job. That's how we were able to come back. Just buckling down the fourth. Being a team where when we need stops, we're going to get them. Playing hard, playing scrappy. And I think that last play, with Jaylen Brown getting ahead and lay up and the effort covering to Kemba. I just think that summed up for the defense. We're just scrappy and just playing hard.
Looked like you were more aggressive, especially early, 18-10 in the first half. Just wondered what the season's been like for you, trying to, with everything that you talked about preseason, the shortened off season, how the new teammates, how would you evaluate the whole thing so far?
It's been good so far. For me personally, I just get back to the attack mode, being aggressive, crashing off the glass, making the paint, doing those things. Everything I did tonight. Just trying to get back to that, and what I got back to it tonight, carry over for that's the season. But the things come together very well. We were starting to figure each other out. The guys are getting comfortable, and we're doing it for a short practice time, and we're doing it on the road. So, the more games that we play with each other, the better we'll be.
Dave? Anthony, Alex, you credited that defensive play he made late when you spoke to Rachel afterwards, but there's other guys who have more experience in the league on your roster, who have more credentials, who have command a larger salary, but he's part of the closing lineup, or has been often for you guys. What about his game, about his persona, allows him to fit in that role, and what do you guys like about having him there when it's winning time?
Yeah, he's a smart player. Like I say, he's not the highest paid or, have all the accolades or credentials, and a lot of people don't notice him. But he plays the right way. He locks up defensively, makes tough shots, scrappy. I saw a stat where actually Doug, I didn't see it, Doug told me after the Detroit game is that in our losses, and he's a plus 46, and like plus minus or something like that, which just shows that anytime you throw him on the floor, he's always in the plus column in the plus minus. He's playing the right way. He's expecting the game, in a positive way. So for him to be out there and close the lineup with us, we trust him. Coach trusts him, and he always comes up and make big plays. Just what we seen tonight at the end of the game.
And
for what it's worth, I think he's a plus 14 tonight while scoring 2 points off the bench. For you guys as an identity, I mean, how fitting is it to have a guy simply just run as hard as he can from one corner of the court to the free throw line? What does that say about the kind of team that you guys want to be in terms of just playing hard and having that be such a cornerstone of your identity as a group?
Yeah, we just want everybody to do their job. You do your job. And that's all, we can never ask of anyone on this team, from the coaching staff to the players. So everyone, knows their role, and everyone is just asked to do their job. If your job is to run to the corners, then, to create space and make shots, then, that's what, we expect you to do. If your job's to defend, rebound, block shots, whatever, that's what we expect you to do. Score, come off pick and roll, get in the paint, whatever it is, whatever your role is on this team, we expect you to do it at the highest level. So, I think everyone on our team noticed that. And when you're not doing it, then we got guys on the team who can hold each other accountable. We have been doing this. So that's why I think a lot of guys are starting to get more comfortable, knowing that guys are going to get on them, and when they're not playing the right way or doing their role, then we're going to tell them.
Last question, Kyle.
AD wound up with the ball after Tice missed the putback and looked like you were kind of hanging on the net for a second, maybe thinking a little bit. I was wondering, what were you thinking after that finish? And as a follow-up, is this the kind of win that still feels a little humbling, even after you're winning it?
I don't know what I was thinking. I was just in a daze. A gritty win. Playing against a team that just, beat us by 30 last year in this building. And, we were able to, put it off with a great win and a stop at the end. So it was just like, a relief. I mean, obviously, Kemba had a good look. Tice had a great look on the putback, but, losing two in a row, something components that we don't like. We were able to, get this one, and we just, we're back in the win column when it could have easily went in, and but it killed our spirit, of course. So, just sign a sign of relief just to be able to get this win, and then for us in total, I think we just happy to be back in the win column. Happy to. It's been a long road trip, almost 2 weeks now. So we're trying to push through it and continue to play the right way while we get wins. The long road trip can get to anybody, especially when you're away from your home and your family for a very long time. So it was a good win for us to get back in the win column, especially against a team like this and another team.